Satish Lakkaraju, CCO, the Chief Commercial Officer of Agility. Satish needs no specific introduction because anywhere in the country, anything to do with logistics, Satish is a very sought after speaker, and his views are very sought after. And today with us, he is going to talk to us about and whatever happens to the industry, the economy, COVID happens, recovery happens. The one person who is under stress is always the logistics sector, and you can see it in Satish also. There is a huge amount of stress, and ensuring that the goods are transported from A to B. That's the stress given the circumstances. And to talk us through that from not only the domestic perspective but also from a global perspective, I would like to invite Satish Lakkaraju. So you have 10 minutes with you.
My pleasure to always be speaking at the ISCM events, and I think starting March I've been speaking in various forums, and the way things are changing in the last few months, it's really mind-boggling for us to how we are coping up to this pressure. And we forgot now what is a Saturday or a Sunday, and what is the difference between a holiday actually, because we've been working from home. And while I was logging into this webinar also and wanted to listen to all the speakers, including renowned speakers like John Gitorna, but we keep getting calls for something that is burning somewhere in the world, and we need to help someone. So we realize that our role is so very important for everyone's life, not only for pharma or for essential commodities. And sometimes we thank that we are in this business of logistics, not because there's an opportunity for making money, but I think we have a larger role in terms of our absolute responsibility to make things moving and going. So when I was asked to probably touch base on a subject, I knew that the rest of the speakers would choose other subjects, but what is now burning currently, both on the domestic front and on the international front, and more on air and ocean, is the current challenges that are happening both in terms of air and ocean. And I don't see this to be a one-day's problem or what it is. And this is what started in March, around 10th and 11th, when it was Holi. I still remember having visited Hyderabad and having met Dr. Ravi Prakash Mathur, who's also going to be later on a panel, and a few other pharma companies. And I said, look, it's going to be bad times as far as capacity and air and ocean is concerned. Some people believed me, some people did not believe me, but I think 7 months later, our guess was right that the situation would be bad. So what I've done basically today is, before I come to the concluding part of it, is that how do we address these air and ocean capacity disruptions? Because these disruptions are going to continue. Customers are going to be demanding for product. Some patient will need some medicine somewhere. Who gets priority over the others? So if you see the articles that have been coming around in the news and magazines all across, is that these two articles in which in business line I did mention about the container requirement. I think Maersk was predicting that 60,000 containers will be required in the next couple of years for the reefer containers. Whether the number is right or wrong, but there are some amount of details that are coming up on the forecasting or on whatever it is. The IATA forecasted that you will need 80,000 jumbo jets to deliver coronavirus globally. But later, when we went a few months later, if you look at the recent article that came up also on Mint in India, they said container shortage threatens India's export revival and rest of them. But today, when you speak, whether it's China or India, both exports are getting impacted with the shortage of containers. The exports in China have surged 21% from an year-on-year basis when compared to last year. Things like appliances, toys, clothes, personal protective equipment are in high demand now for multiple reasons, which our previous speakers spoke also. Because you're working from home, there's a demand for food, there is demand for a lot of them. So what I've done is that we've taken a data from Seabury and some key assumptions in terms of, what will be the air freight demand if at all the vaccine starts to come out. and these assumptions are based on a clear thing that we will have 7.8 billion of world population, of which 75% will be for vaccine coverage, and each one will require 2 doses of vaccines. And we are presuming that there will be a 20% of vaccine wastage because of the supply chain inefficiencies for maintaining cold chain, because maintaining -70 may not be easy, or even a -20 in peak April or May may lead to some bit of wastage. And the weight per dosage will be around 8.5 grams, and we are expecting 45% to be transported by air. So the aircraft capacity can vary, because some will have dry ice, some will not have dry ice, between 5.4 tons to 5 tons based on what it is. So if you take those into account, they are looking at anywhere between 11,200 Boeing 777s, 300 ERs, and around 60,000 tons of air freight that could happen. If presuming this happens, then we don't have those type of capacity currently to really offer to the people, and we already have enough high freight cost that's happening at current point of view. Even presuming this does not happen, and we are only looking at much lower aircraft and saying all the cargo from Europe is going by road, and then that volume is reduced, and Pfizer produces only in US, and then it's all road transported also. But there is still a lot of cargo that needs to go into Middle East, needs to go into Africa, it needs to go into Latin American destinations, which will still need a lot more capacity, which need to be built in. Either the old aircrafts come back, or the new, some of the passenger aircrafts are converted, which is a discussion that we can always have. So what we've done is, as Agility, we've actually created a little bit of a video for everyone to understand where is the chaos coming in from. So whether you can So that's just to give you an idea in terms of ocean freight. What has been happening is that post the Chinese New Year holidays, there have been enough blank sailings that have been happening. There have been enough mergers and acquisitions that have happened in terms of the shipping lines consolidating, be it of the stand that Maersk has taken in terms of with Damco or with CMS CGM. There have been a lot of other consolidations that have been happening, as a result of which there have been a lot of changes in the schedule as well. Also, we've seen that there has not been so much of new containers manufacturing in the reefers that happened during COVID times, and there's been quite a bit of shortage of it. So what is the current scenario as we speak? The shortage is not on one single route, but there is a shortage across the globe now for containers. The other thing that has happened is the demand has gone up so high because the export orders in some of the countries, mainly in China, have increased close to 21%. There's a huge situation in terms of the Colombo situation. Over 60,000 containers currently are at Colombo, and there is a huge delay. So vessels are skipping Colombo completely. But on the flip side, it could be an opportunity for someone like ports like Cochin or Tuticorin to really become the future hubs of the industry. How they capitalize on it can be there. And then another important aspect is that earlier the turnaround time of any containers on an average was 60 days that they would consider. But now that is being calculated at 100 days for a container really to rotate from one destination to the other, because they are missing a lot of vessels, and then as a result there is a larger delay. So with all this happening, what is that, how do we address surely the situation as far as the imbalance is concerned, and what we can do? Earlier, even if you wanted a charter, probably we would have arranged it in 4 days or 5 days for air freight. But now even getting charters is not been so easy. While the importers or the exporters have to do a better forecasting with the partners, and the partners also should start looking at giving priority to their loyal customers at this point of time, because they get the biggest priority. People who have worked with us now for so many years, we prioritize them over any new customer who comes in, is one part of it. Also, I know that the sales and marketing people will keep saying that my product needs to be on the shelf, but I think it's important to explain to them that the delays are going to be there, because these are not intentional, but these are going to be because of multiple reasons that we are seeing. Two, the cost of the ocean freights and air freight are going to further increase. Say, for example, from Indonesia to Colombo, at $6,000, we can't get a container today. So that is the situation in which we are living. It's not that no one wants to do it. Two, the amount of cash that is required currently to run the operations has gone up 300 times, which means for us to pay payments to airlines, shipping lines has become a nightmare. So that is where we asking our partners to really look at how the payment cycles can really happen. The sixth thing that is going to happen surely in the coming days is the free time on containers from 21 days coming down to 14 days, can even come down to 7 days or lower than that in most of the cases. The ground rent is going to be increasing at most of the ports in the coming days, unfortunately, which is not a good thing to happen. So what can we be doing actually is that if we work closely and we are able to use the import containers for exports in certain cases, even if out of 100 containers we are able to do it to 20, and the overall cost and also the balance in equipment can be to a larger extent be addressed. And also in case of pharma, some of the solutions that one can look at in the coming days is that if you're not able to do air, at least look at people who can offer an LCL reefer product for at least a 15 to 25 or a 2 to 8. So these are areas where we are now constantly working with our customers, and that's the only way we see in terms of how we can come out of this situation. So these are some of the inputs that I wanted to share for the benefit of everyone who is here. Girish, this is a subject which can't be done in 10 minutes, but I've tried to stick to the time, given that you told me 4:45. So I think the clock is at 4:45.
Yes.
So
thank you.
My timing, so I've kept it there. Thank you, Girish.
Thank you very much. Yes, I know this is each slide of yours could easily go into a 10-15 minute exposition of various nuances within it. Yes, it is indeed a very challenging task, and as is your norm, you have not only risen to the challenge, you have beaten the challenge. So I thank you very much for that. Let me just check if there are any questions which have been asked. There was one question which was asked, call on the container imbalance. Yes, can you please explain the alternates?
Very good. If someone is saying today that there is a container imbalance and we are not too sure, the first alternative that we've been recommending is that if the quantities are large, let us explore the option of break bulk for commodities which are scrap or which are other type of commodities, or use ro-ro vessels in cases where there is a possibility to use it. And we've done this for one of our customers recently out of Calcutta, where we were not able to provide 200 and odd containers. We proposed a solution of a break bulk. While the cost could go up in certain cases, but that is one good option that one needs to explore. The second option that I've already talked about is that if you are someone who's doing import and exports, then try and clearly monitor what are your imports coming into your country and what is the time at which when the container comes to your factory, can that container be turned around to an export destination, so that you not only use the container but also manage it. And we've done this for one of the retail customer, but we can't do it in all the cases. But out of 100 containers, even if you're able to do 20, that is a good scenario. So these are two classic cases that you can actually look at it. The third thing that I would honestly request everyone who's facing this problem is that talk to your partners and start placing bookings well in advance, because sometimes we are not even getting a container 1 month from now. So you can imagine if you want a container in March, it'll be crazy to tell us to place the booking now. But at least if you think it's worthwhile, I have 20 containers, let me place booking for 10. Please do that, and that is something which will help you all also. It will also help rest of them. And there are a lot of other things that we have started to do in terms of what we can do, which we will be sharing, in whichever forum I'm speaking shortly.
Thank you, Satish. I thank you very much both for being a partner with us on this transformational leadership series, and also having shared your thoughts on it. Thank you very much.